If you wake up from camping and you have like sore hips and back and your shoulders hurt, or maybe you didn't get any sleep at all, we can fix this because getting a good night's sleep is all about good design. In this video, I'll show you how to design a sleep system that actually works. I'm going to show you a really old school trick with a wool blanket. We'll talk about why some sleep pads work for people, but they totally fail others and which one to pick. And we're also going to go over like one thing that couples invariably do, and it's just a miserable fail for getting a night's sleep. And this will work if you're in a tent, if you're in a car camper, if you're in a van, cots, mattresses, whatever. We're going to go over it all. My name's Kara Schultz, and I'm author of A Field Guide to Luxury Tent Camping. And I also have the Curated campsite planner, and it is free, and the link is in the description. Many people think that camping sleeping problems are all about the sleeping bag, and that is wrong. It's all about your body's pressure points, and that is your shoulders and your hips and your lower back. And if those areas aren't supported correctly, sleeping just feels like torture. And I know a lot of people will be screaming right now, just get a sleeping pad. But here's the catch about a sleeping pad. The right sleeping pad for you depends on how you personally sleep. And that goes for those of you using cots too. Are you a side sleeper? Well, your shoulders and your hips need more cushioning. So you want to go with a pad that is at least 3 to 4 inches thick. And I suggest you don't use memory foam because when it gets cold at night, that thing gets as hard as a rock. And also if you slightly underinflate, that will help you sink in a little bit on your pressure points. Back sleeper, you need firm support. When you're laying down, you don't want your body to bow and sag because that's how you get that really bad backache. So you want something with good support, and for you, memory foam is probably a good option. Stomach sleeper, you want firm, but you also want thin, no more than 1 to 2 inches. And the reason for this is as you're laying on your stomach, you don't want your back to bow this way, right? And that will cause lower back issues and neck problems as well. We're going to get to couples in just a minute, but here's something most people miss. The shape of your sleeping bag matters a heck of a lot more than people think. So if the way that you sleep and the shape of your sleeping bag are not compatible, you're going to be fighting it all night long. So if you're a side sleeper and you curl up to sleep, a traditional mummy bag is going to feel like being aggressively gift wrapped. You want a spoon-shaped or a roomier rectangular bag. You need a little space for movement without twisting around the whole time. Back sleepers, you're fine for a mummy bag because you're not moving around as much. The tapered shape is going to trap heat efficiently if it cools down at night. And because you're lying flat, a lower profile pillow will work a lot better. Stomach sleepers are actually the most challenging to use a sleeping bag. So use the widest rectangular bag that you can use, or just skip it and do regular bedding. So now we've handled pressure points and movement, but even a good sleep system like that can fail if you don't account for temperature. And that is why I do not use a sleeping bag. I use real bedding. And I also use an old school trick with a wool blanket because it is all about the layers. No matter what the temperature is, I always bring a wool blanket with me, but it is not going over the top of me. Oh no, it's going underneath. So here's the layer order. You want your pad, wool blanket, fitted sheet, then your bedding, whatever that bedding is. So this works for 2 reasons. It is temperature regulation, but it's also moisture wicking. So when you have a pad, a lot of times it is filled with some type of air, or it has like the foam pockets or that type of thing. And when you have this wool blanket over there, that creates a thermal barrier and it increases the R factor. But what if it is hot? Well, whether it is hot or cold, it works for moisture wicking. So as you sleep and you perspire, it will draw that moisture away from your body and it will keep you either warmer or cooler, depending on the temperature. And bonus, doing that wool blanket will keep your mattress from sounding like a bunch of crunchy chip bags or something every time you roll around. And using your normal bedding helps you feel like you're in your normal bed. So let me know, are you team sleeping bag or are you team bedding? Let me know in the comments. And we are going to get to that mistake that couples make. But first, we're going to deal with light. So you're not waking up at stupid o'clock in the morning. Okay, we're going to go through the next two quick. Tents are basically translucent lanterns that light up as soon as any amount of sun touches them. So you do want to plan for light, right? So that is where you put your tent. I'm not going to go into a lot of details on that. Put it on the west side of trees to block the east coming in sun. But if you want to know more about how to design your campsite and lay it out, I do have a video for that, and I will link it in the comments and also in the description. But there's an easy fix for all of this. An eye mask. Seriously, just get one of these nice thin silk eye masks, put it on. You're going to sleep like $1,000,000. The outdoors is not all that quiet. I mean, you do have the birdies chirping, but you also have obnoxious neighbors. You have squirrels with an attitude. You have the wind going and tent flaps rustling, all kinds of noise going on. But there's an easy fix for that as well. You can just do simple earplugs, or you can do earbuds and have some noise canceling going on. And if you do that, you're going to have a great night's sleep. And now we can get onto that mistake that couples make that completely ruin their sleep. They try to sleep on a single blow-up mattress. And you know what happens next. Now, I tried to get my husband to reenact this. He was not going for it. But you're laying there. The other one gets into bed and literally it launches you up into the stratosphere. Or one of you is heavier than the other. And so your tailbone is grinding against the ground all night. So here's how to fix this. Use two separate pads that have a buckle that hold them together, or you can use a dual chamber mattress. If you're not using a foam mattress or something like that. And this is also a time that I will say, yes, those couple sleeping bags look so snuggly and cute, but don't do it. Just use regular bedding, because one of you is going to sleep hot, the other is going to sleep cold. You'll want to have your foot out, all that kind of stuff. And one of you will want to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and then you can do that without waking the other person up. Now, my husband and I, we do separate cots, and that seems to work really well. And I mean, yes, we can still have, relations, and you can get together for a little morning cuddle. But there's a lot more marital bliss if both of you are getting a good night's sleep. Trying to sleep while camping should not feel like punishment. And the bigger design lesson here is there's never one magic bullet item to buy. It's all about finding the systems that really work for you. So if you have some type of sleeping hack or suggestion, let me know in the comments, because sharing is caring. And if you want help designing your own comfortable setup, grab the free Curated campsite planner below. And until next time, happy camping.